everybody, and welcome back to Knit a Rainbow. This is episode 3, and I am so excited to have you here. My name is Kimberly McAlindin. For all those new subscribers that have joined me in the last 3 weeks or so of this podcasting journey, I am having the time of my life. It is so much fun to bring this content to you. And while I'm buttering you all up, if you would all please hit that subscribe button. And if you wanted to get notifications, there's a little bell when I upload a new video. I upload videos every other Thursday, but now that we reached 1,000 subscribers, I am going to try to come on the in-between Thursday and just kind of answer your questions and kind of have, back and forth between you and me, and we will have fun on this journey together. It is summertime here in the Northeast, and it is very, very hot today. My entire family is home, so I am relegated to our attic, and it is very, very hot. So without further ado, and without any more complaining, because that's not really the way I like to live my life, let's get into the knitting. So the last time we were together, I talked about cake wool. And I have this beautiful wool. It's called dough. It is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. It is a DK weight, and it is 231 yards to 100 grams. I love this yarn, and I was going to make Knit a Rainbow, which is right here behind me, and I couldn't decide if I was going to do 3/4 sleeves or short sleeves. I put a post out on Instagram, and let me tell you, I had a great response, and it was like 49 to 51, 49% being short sleeves, 51% being 3/4 sleeves. So I knit this up, and I finished it with 3/4 sleeves, and I put it on. I was so excited to show all of you, and I don't like it. So I either have to rip out the sleeves and make them a little bit longer, because it hits about right here on me. It's not long enough for me. So I'm either going to have to do that, or I'm going to make it short sleeves. Or I'm going to do the whole shebang and just make it long sleeves so that I can wear it all seasons when it's cold and rainy in the Northeast. But I absolutely love the way it came out. And it was kind of my example that patterns are recipes, right? If you don't like nuts in your banana bread, make the banana bread without the nuts, right? So here are some things that I changed. The first thing is on the neck here, this edging is only 4 rounds. I changed mine to 6 because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I changed the sleeves, which didn't turn out for the best. Maybe I should have kept it the way that I had it. But I'm either going to redo the sleeves so that they're, maybe bracelet length. Maybe I'll do that. And then I'll show you guys on Instagram, if you'd like to follow me, all the links for the pattern and for my Instagram and my email. They're all going to be in the description box below. So when you hit that subscribe button, then go to the description box, okay? Anyway, so I finished this, and then I also participated in a really quick test knit for Tiff Nealon, Tiff Hand Knits, and she had a shawl pattern that was going to be for a verb for keeping warm. I guess it was part of their something, I don't know, yarn of the month or something like that. So that was like a quick 2-week thing. And so I did do that. And I asked her if I could show you guys on this one, but I can't. So once it's released and the pictures are released, check out my Instagram for those pictures. I actually did mine with Spin Cycle and Sugar Plum Circus in sport, and I'm telling you, I love it. And then yesterday, I ended up having a little bit of a photo session with other things, and so the photos came out really great. So if she posts some photos of other people's things, then I'll stick a photo in here if that happens before this airs. But if not, it'll be for the next time, or follow my Instagram to see all of the things that I'm working on. I also wanted to talk about knitting sleeves. Sometimes, everybody says that there's Sleeve Island and they don't like Sleeve Island. I love Sleeve Island. First of all, who doesn't want to be in an island? And second of all, it's like a little hat, right? And hats are done very quickly. So there are some things that you can do when you're on sleeve, when you don't really care to be on Sleeve Island, to kind of soften the blow. The first thing is, when you're doing a top-down sweater like Knit a Rainbow is, when you split for the sleeves, and then, you'll have a little bit of yarn left over. If you're going to have to change your yarn, right? So you run out of yarn, you've knit about an inch or so of the body. Well, one thing that I do sometimes is I stop and I join my yarn and knit a sleeve. So that once you're finished knitting the entire body of the sweater, you only have one more sleeve to do, and then you're done. So if you break it up that way, break up the way you do the construction, that's an easy way to do that. Another thing is to set goals for yourself. I used to talk about this a lot when I worked in a yarn shop. Set goals for yourself when you're knitting a sweater, right? So I was a production knitter, so I had a timeline on how much time I had to knit each garment. Even if I was designing, I wouldn't design more than 3 sweaters in a month, because I needed a full 10 days to not only write the pattern, but to knit it as well. So I would have certain knitting days and certain writing days. So to help that for all of you that you're awesome knitters out there, what you would do is you would take your sweater and break it into parts, right? So the way I broke down my sweaters was yoke, sleeves, body, trim. Yoke, sleeves, body, trim. And so what I would do is I would make, let's say I had 7 days, okay? I had 7 days to knit the garment. It usually took me, if I was specifically knitting, now remember this was my job, so I didn't, do other things in there, is that I would knit a sleeve a day. So that's 2 days out of 7. And then to knit the yoke, I would give myself 2 days. So that's 4 days. And then I have 3 days left over to get the body done. To break it down even further, to take just little bitty chunks of your knitting, it might seem overwhelming to do a whole sweater, but if you break it down and you do little bit by bit, well, if you do little bit by bit, then it turns lots of little bits turn into a finished garment. So let's say I had the body and I have to knit 15 inches of the body. Well, that means that I need to knit 5 inches per day, because remember, I gave myself 3 days to knit the body. So I would knit 5 inches per day. And even to help myself move along even more is that I would see how many rounds or rows I would get to the inch. So let's say on this sweater, this is 6 rows to the inch. I know that 6 times 5 is 30, right? So I needed to knit in an entire day 30 rows to get my quota done. Now, of course, I could go over the quota, or if I was under, then I knew I had a little bit of catching up to do. But I needed to sit down at specific times of the day, whether it was the morning, the afternoon, or night, then I could even break that down again, right? I could knit 10 rounds in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and 10 at night. So see, when you break it down, it doesn't seem so overwhelming than when you get this whole pattern and you're spending all this money on yarn and then your most precious thing, your time, and it seems like an overwhelming task. So if you break it down into those steps, mine was yoke, sleeves, body, and trim. So if that helps you, I hope that it does. Stick a comment down below and let me know if you've ever thought about your knitting that way, if you're knitting in parts. You know, these days we don't really knit sweaters in parts anymore. I mean, certainly people do, and there's beautiful patterns and wonderful designers out there that do that. And there are reasons for that. Structure, the seams are important, you know, to keep things. Some of the puffy sleeve designs, those definitely are like set-in sleeves that you sew in. So there are reasons for that. But what I'm saying is, if you wanted to break it down to help you with all these top-down sweaters, then I hope that helps you. So let me know. I'm really sorry that I'm sweating this badly. Fresca. Also, while we're talking about this, let's talk about, see, I have an entire extra skein left. When we're working with the amazing dyers that are small batch dyers, you're always going to want to get that extra skein. And I know sometimes it's an extra $30, $34. And here's the way I justify it. Number one, I do have enough yarn left over if I wanted to make one of these long sleeve. But if I want to make both of them long sleeve or even bracelet length, I'm definitely going to need this other skein. So it gives me options, right? Another thing is, let's say sometimes you get one skein and it looks completely different than the other skeins. And that's just the nature of working with indie dyers and working with small batch dyers. Well, then you can take that apart, kind of feather it in, or just take it out altogether, switch it with a skein that matches everything else, and then use this for a hat or two. I have some great free patterns on my Ravelry account, and I'll link them below. If you have extra skeins left over, make some hats. So you finished your sweater, you have an extra skein, you're like, what in the heck am I gonna do this? If you're not gonna make like a really pretty stripy sweater and you know, you're done with this color, although I love this color, then make a hat for it. It takes 1 or 2 evenings whilst you're watching television. Get an awesome pom-pom and stick it in your gift pile. Do you guys have a reserve bin? I have something in my house that's called the reserve. And when I just go out and pick up gifts or things are on sale, or I actually have, you know, knitting hats in there, I kind of just put them in. And let's not lie, sometimes there's gifts in there that I've received that I don't really want, so that they go in the reserve. Make sure you put a label on there of who gave it to you so that you don't re-gift it to the original gifter. That's a little awkward. But put them in the reserve, and then once Christmas comes, or once, you know, it's after Thanksgiving and you're like, holy cow, I have, you know, I only have 3 or 4 weeks left for the holidays, you will have a couple already done. So that's just a little tip for that extra skein of yarn that I like to use. Also, I was talking about the sleeves here, and one thing that I love to work with double pointed needles, but if you don't care to work with double pointed needles, have you all seen this adorable little ChiaGoo set? These are shorties. And they go from size US 4 to US 8. And there are 3 different lengths of yarn that you can use. And, oh look, my assistant came with my coffee.
Oh, no.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
This is my Marin. She's doing much better, and thank you so much for all of your comments, for your healing prayers for her and your healing thoughts. We really look at her. She's doing so great, and she even just drove and got me a coffee. Thank you, Marin.
You're welcome.
It's good because I'm like sweating.
Yeah, it's hot up here.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna sip this too. Okay, so we're back to the shorties, and they come from size US 4, 3.5 millimeter to US 8, 5.0 millimeters. And you have two sizes. So on the US 4, you have, I'm gonna just pick one. You have a shorter one, and you have a longer one. I'm gonna put them side by side. These are the same. These are both size 4, but you have two different sizes. What I found when I was doing small circumferences, like at the cuff of a sleeve, and I didn't want to use double-pointed needles, I found that working with these itty bitties, while absolutely adorable, and I loved them, they hurt my hands. It just hurt my hands to move it that way. But I found a way that it doesn't hurt. Now I'm a thrower, which means I have my yarn comes out of my right hand and I throw my yarn that way. So a lot of the work that I'm doing is with my right hand. So let me show, I'm gonna show you on the 8s because this is done in a size 8. I have my long needle on the side that I'm going to hold with my right hand, and I have the short side on the left side. So I put a long one on one end, a short one on the other end, and when I'm picking up my stitches, when I'm picking up those stitches around, I make sure to start with the longest side because that's the side that I'm gonna hold with my right hand, and it has just enough length for my hands to hold on it and to not cramp up and feel so tiny. So in other words, I can hold this as I hold a regular size needle, and so my hands don't feel funny when I'm working with them. So that's a little tip if you wanted to get these ChiaGoo needles. They're available on Amazon. Also, you can, when you order them from Amazon though, be careful because there are copies out there. Make sure you're getting the ChiaGoo set. You could also go on their website and check out who their wholesalers are, yarn shops. Okay, so we have that. That was my little thing. Purchases. So this week I purchased some yarn. I'm very excited because my children, for those of you that don't know, you all just met Marin, she's 17, and then I have a son, Graham, who's 20, and he is a sophomore at Providence College, and my oldest son, Colin, is almost 23, and he just graduated from University of Maryland, and he is working in New York City. So, hold on. That's super delicious. So Graham, my middle son that goes to Providence, a couple of his friends follow me on Instagram, which I think is adorable. And one actually asked him if I would be interested in making him a sweater. I was like, yeah. So I'm making a sweater for this friend of Graham's. I don't want to say his name yet until I get the okay. So he sent me a photo and he sent me a picture of a sweater with measurements on it. He actually would like a fisherman type sweater, traditional fisherman sweater, and I'm so excited. So that's what I'm going to start to do, and you know, while I am doing this, I'm going to just kind of show you the process, right? So the first thing I have to do is find out what patterns I want to use. And for me, I have always gone to the most impressive, most amazing book of knitting patterns by Barbara Walker. This is her first one, Treasury of Knitting Patterns. There are 4. I have all 4. Maybe there's just 3. There's a blue one, a yellow one, a red one. Maybe there's just 3. I have them all. So if you can find them, it is distributed by Schoolhouse Press, which is Elizabeth Zimmerman's and Meg Swanson's. It is now Meg, Elizabeth's daughter. So you can go to schoolhousepress.com and you can, I hope that they have these. If they don't, then go to Amazon. But first go to Schoolhouse Press, okay? All right. So in here, as you can see, it's earmarked. There's a lot of things in here because I've used this in my designing life. So what I'll do is I'll go to like a cable section and I'll find a cable that I want to use and I'll do swatching. So my first step is to swatch, you know, to look and see what I want whilst I'm waiting for the yarn. But I already ordered it, so. While it's great to order from yarn shops and from indie dyers directly, another great resource that has a wide span of yarn types and yarn prices is Webs. I ordered this on Webs. If you go to Webs, it's on yarn.com. And I just got it. So I'm very, very excited. It smells sheepy. It is a non-superwash wool. We're talking about a fisherman's sweater here. And it's their Highland worsted. And I bought a truckload. 1, 2, 3, 4. I bought 10 skeins because, you know, you can always use this, correct? So this is from Cloudborne Fiber, A Little Bliss in Every Stitch, Highland worsted in the color Ecru. This has 221 yards and 3.5 ounces to 100 grams. And it is fine Highland wool. It is absolutely beautiful. The twist is really, really pretty. It is a 2-ply yarn, which means there are 2 plies to here, and then they're so there's 1 ply twisted, 1 ply twisted, and then they're twisted together. So it gives you really great stitch definition. And I look forward to swatching with this. So I will roll that up and swatch with it. Okay. And finally, before I melt, the summer sweater series. So all of the links for these patterns will be in the description box below, and I will put a picture up while I'm describing these on how I have styled them. This, as you remember last week, this is the ranunculus, and I just have it paired with a pair of linen white slacks, which I wish was just underwear because I'm sweating. Are you guys sick of hearing me say sweating? If you want to watch this as a drinking game and every time I say sweating, do a shot, sweating. Okay. First up, I probably should have done my homework, and this is by Alicia Plummer. I think it's called Fables, and this is in sport weight yarn. This is Moondrakes. And all of the information is going to be linked in the description. I loved knitting this sweater. I love V-neck sweaters. It's just a wonderful, wonderful sweater. Wonderful, wonderful color. There's great detail on here that, you know, I didn't really expect when I started knitting the sweater, but man, it's beautiful. So this I like to wear with skirts. I like to wear it with jeans, and it looks great with linen pants too. So that's the first one. The next one is, if you have 4 skeins of worsted weight yarn that are friends together, the color Quadrant Crop from James Watts. I was so excited to test knit this. The other pictures that you have of the other testers and the models and James modeling his, they're fantastic. But I did not do crop because I didn't. So I did mine a little bit longer. This is in Wishbone, in Wishbone's worsted. And the changes that I did was I simply made it longer, and there is a pocket that goes here. I also changed my colors a little bit to work with how much I had. So isn't it gorgeous? It's absolutely gorgeous. And you would think like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy to wear. It's not that bad. And I love it. And I finished it in a matter of days because it's worsted. Now it is a little bit of intarsia, which is this right here. So let's look at the back. You can see that you twist the yarn as you come to it. If you don't know how to do it, James has amazing, notes in his patterns. I really loved doing this. So this is the Color Quadrant Crop by James Watts. And then the last one, because I have so many of her sweaters, I was gonna save it for one, for the last one of these, or maybe I'll do 2 more, this is my Novelli tee by Caitlin Hunter. I knit this in Hedgehog. These are all Hedgehog colors, Film Noir, and I don't remember the names of the other 2, but they are listed on my Ravelry. This is a bottom-up sweater, and the changes that I did to this was made it a V-neck. The other ones are it's the same, it's a boat neck, but I changed mine to a V-neck, and I believe I wrote the instructions on my Ravelry. If not, you can email me or just send me a private message and I'll help you along with that. So this is my Novelli tee. I wear this all the time as well, and it goes with everything because it has every color in it. You wouldn't believe it looks wonderful with black, it looks wonderful with khaki, it looks wonderful with white, cream, regular jeans colors, and this is Hedgehog, and it is absolutely gorgeous, and I absolutely love it. So this is the Novelli tee by Caitlin Hunter. Next time we meet, I hopefully will be able to show you the shawl that I worked on. It's called Perennial Garden by Tiff Nealon. And I will show you the process on which I'm designing the sweater for my son's friend in college. And I signed up for 2 more tests. I'm not sure that I'm going to be accepted, but that's okay. I also have a top-down sweater in my head swirling around, so we'll get that down on paper, and I'll be looking for test knitters and showing you the process of me doing it. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all being here. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-day and the hard of the day-to-day, that I hope that you take your knitting or spinning or weaving or whatever, drawing, running, walking, cooking, whatever you do, and carve out a time each day to do that, to bring yourself joy, to think again what it feels like to feel like a kid and to be excited. Because friends, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about being happy. It's about truly making yourself happy and taking the steps to do it. I'm telling you, the world would be such a better place if everyone was walking around happy. Think about road rage, which I have. But just think about it. Think about smiling or saying hello to a perfect stranger walking down the street. Might be their only smile for the day. Have a wonderful couple weeks. Have joy. Bring joy into your life, and the ripple effect will be great for the world. I'll see you next time. Bye.